I think I prefer the wild planets to this city. At least there, the predators are easier to spot.
Captain! Over here!
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic, and at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the Chief Diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
So it would seem. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
Whatever risks exist, they are outweighed by this imminent threat. I agree. The request should be granted.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
Well, I am not. I've heard nothing here to convince me that we should do anything but wait. And I will not risk galactic peace on a question of if.
Yes, a fair assessment, Chief Diplomat. So then, while the data you two have presented is compelling, I think we can safely say it's insufficient for the level of action you've requested. Perhaps once we... What was that?
Attention.
We're free soon.
An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God. There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
rifle! Grab it! Now!
That's it! Now hit him with everything you've got!
We're trying to help you! Target down!
Stop!
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please.
And pull some firepower. Let's move!
Has been issued for the spaceport district.
Gotta be
All
okay.
citizens are
It's not
required to
real.
proceed to the nearest shelter.
You might back up! Don't just stand there! Kill it!
Buds. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can. us they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
Whole building's on lockdown.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
Heroes were meant
Captain?
at that spaceport.
Hadrian,
And that
it would
includes
appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, after today's events, the Cabinet has decided to revisit its previous decision. We will be supporting your collection of the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. We're dismissed.
Those creatures kill easy citizens. They're not killing anymore.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
There are so many different groups across the settled systems, it's... These orders can't be... Yes. Yes, sir. Consider it done. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also told the President wants us to get you into the Armistice Archives ASAP. So, we've got no time to waste. You know what the Archives are, correct?
It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Yes, just like us. How magnanimous of you.
Of course, but there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
I have no doubt.
Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
It sounds as though I will enjoy this.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Report suggests there's a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for intel. Maybe even convince to work with you. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her, and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Can we speak for a moment?